So it's 1583 and the Portuguese are in trouble. The French and the English are threatening to take their resources and their slaves, that of which they acquired on the west coast of Africa. The Portuguese decide, you know what, we can't really win against both these nations. Let's just go down of the south in the Kingdom of Congo and let's create relations there. Let's colonize that place instead. They go down there and they meet up with King Mbundu, who in my opinion has no choice but to accept this relation whereby the Portuguese give them weapons and in exchange they give them slaves. And this goes on for a bit of a while. In 1622, King Mbundu is invited to a conference to discuss the hostilities with the Portuguese and the people of the South Kingdom of Congo. And in return, he decides, you know what, I'm going to send my sister. Njinga goes to this conference as she sees, I only have two options. One, to keep the relationship that we have with Portugal, which is we give them slaves and they give us protection and guns, but at this point, the Portuguese are demanding more slaves than they usually would take. Or two, sever the relationship and lose the protection, and we all know what that means. So she leaves the meeting, but during the meeting, she catches the attention of an assistant who falls at her feet and basically gives her whatever she wants. Nzinga does something questionable though. She ends up converting to Christianity and even changes her name. The Queen of Portugal at this point becomes her godmother. She goes back to her kingdom and urges her brother to join Christianity or convert to Christianity, and she says he must even convince his people or their people to also convert to Christianity. But the brother says, no, I'm not gonna do that. As time goes on, in 1626, Njinga becomes queen after her brother takes his own life because more and more of his people are being taken by the Portuguese, which only means that Njinga went with option one. Njinga becomes queen and things take a turn. Njinga ends up forming an alliance with the Dutch to help her fight against the Portuguese. But the following year, the Dutch are defeated by the Portuguese, but Njinga doesn't give up. She tries and forms alliances with other people who are not big fans of the Portuguese to fight, and this results in a 30-year war against the Portuguese. At this point, Njinga is 60, leading war troops fighting against the Portuguese. She is even orchestrating guerrilla attacks against the Portuguese. This is how much this woman was using all her resources to her advantage to try and conquer the Portuguese. And luckily for her, the people of her nation end up getting independence in 1975 against the Portuguese because the tactics that Njinga taught them actually worked. Despite repeated attempts by the Portuguese and their allies to capture and kill Queen Nzinga or Njinga, she died peacefully in her 80s on December 17th, 1663. So if you have a relative who's 60 and older and they're completely not orchestrating guerrillas to attack nations that are trying to hurt your nation, ask them what they're doing with their lives.